Welcome in to a very special video entry here on the Maddish Moose YouTube channel featuring Cities Skylines 2. I want to give you a city tour of the completely vanilla, no mods, no asset packs, pure vanilla Cities Skylines 2 city build that we did. It is a labor of love. Over 300 hours of gameplay, about 99 different stream days, and approximately 2+ years of time to build this particular city. I'm very excited to show it off to you. Let's check out Moose River. Here we are in Moose River. The whole point of this build was to capture growth in a city in as natural way as possible, growing kind of from the ground up. We started as a little farm town. I'll show you where we started, and we'll kind of work our way through the build as it kind of grew and natural resources were discovered and the big boom happened, and we crossed over into building a major area of the city. The downtown sprung up and the suburbs, and you'll see hopefully how the city evolved over time. As of right now, there are 120,000 people living in the city of Moose River, and the city makes good money, balances the books quite well, actually. There's a lot of money in the bank. And again, this city was started on literal launch day of City Skylines 2. So we spent over 2 years building this city from launch day onward. Pure vanilla, not a mod or an asset pack ever touched this particular build. So everything you see can be done in strictly vanilla City Skylines 2. Let's take a spin around Moose River. As we swing in, you will notice the beautiful mountain ranges in this particular map. This is a vanilla map. Absolutely stunning. You can see our farm areas. One of our farms in the vicinity. We come over to the river, the fork in the river, where the rivers join up, and you'll see a glimpse of the area of the downtown. But I want to start where everything began. You'll notice the farm town showing up over here, and the whole map begins when you do vanilla. The whole map begins right here at this roundabout, which is now very, very busy. We'll talk about that. This roundabout is all we had. That's where we started, and we grew into this cozy little kind of small town feel area. We've got a main street running down where all the kind of stores and shops are. They've got kind of a central area where the water tower was. It's now kind of more of a historic district. We have preserved large chunks of the forest, if you'll notice throughout the build. We tried to keep it very natural feeling. The idea was it was set up in a mountain valley, and so there would be trees everywhere. We didn't want to chop down all the trees, and so there's a lot of kind of building around the trees in that way. And so trying to keep the natural kind of forest there when we can. So you'll notice large of just natural areas that you could cross-function as parks as well. And some of them we did kind of crisscross some paths through, but a lot of them just stayed kind of natural areas. As we built out, you'll notice our main industry area sits against the mountain here. We also get our geothermal power up on the hill and into our main train terminal here. We've got our main kind of cargo trains, all of our train things happening over here. You see up in the mountains, that was when the ore was discovered. We've got ore. We've got a lot of forestry that goes on as well. This is where a lot of our utilities end up going, water, sewage, as well as some of our trash. Notice a lot of that going on over in this area here. And as the city expanded, we kind of grew out into kind of an initial kind of suburb area in this direction right over here. You'll see kind of our suburbs, our original cemetery placed back here. You see some apartment buildings that had started to pop up. Those kind of came in a little bit later. And our original high school sits just here as well. And as the city began to expand, we grew out into a small little college area you see here, and our first kind of suburbs in this general area over here as well. You'll notice that the map is kind of tiered. We did a lot of terraforming just to kind of tier the map in usable ways. We wanted undulation and terrain change, but we didn't necessarily want to have to deal with all of the kind of just copious amounts of undulation within buildings. It's nicer in this game to build on flats, but I didn't want to lose all of the terrain. So we kind of have these hills that you can see here that run throughout. And so the hill kind of ramps up and then into kind of our next suburban area. And we'll jump in and I'll show you that here in a second. But as the town grew from a farm town, which you can see in the distance here, where our original kind of farmland is in this vicinity, you'll see all of the farms kind of start to come in a very rural way here. And then some oil, of course, popped up in the middle of those farms. And that's what kind of spurred on some of the growth that we had and the money. And you could kind of see how some of the farms start to take shape. And right here, we actually built a little kind of separate farm town. So a little area where all the kind of workers that maybe didn't own the farms that ended up living. And so there's a little kind of town that sits itself just up here in the farmland. Got kind of a fun look with the fire station there that functioned. It kind of doubles as kind of looking like kind of a central kind of church or religious building. So we like that. And that really was kind of the whole goal. Was that's the start of the city, was built into a farm town, kind of grew into that. But then, of course, as the city grew, we swing over into downtown and we started growing across the river. And you'll notice just stunning views as we come into the downtown area, swing through our major bridge here. You'll notice the traffic has become an issue. We could talk about why that is. Primarily, that has to do with the Bridges and Ports DLC that came out at the end of 2025. Completely destroyed traffic. This build was fully balanced. Traffic was actually really fantastic across the board. It looked very nice, like solid amount of traffic, but everything flowed really nicely. Ever since the Bridges and Ports DLC, just complete wreck for traffic. There's really no fixing it. Whatever they did with there were some demand issues they changed, and the amount of cars on the road just became unbearable for a city. But it was very, very, very well balanced as we went. We have a sunken freeway here that kind of runs through our main corridor. You can see it's a nice sunken freeway area that runs through the main part of downtown. One of my favorite parts of the build was getting this sunken freeway, and we did this pretty early on. It also leads out to our most major interchange, which is a really big cloverleaf that happens right over here. You'll notice underneath the cloverleaf, we actually have a ton of parking and other things that go on right underneath the intersection, including a skate park and some other things, bike racks, parking, lots of parking that fits underneath here. And again, all of this is done vanilla. So all of that goes underneath this beautiful cloverleaf interchange that you will see. We're in the stadium district right now that we built a little later, but this is the big cloverleaf interchange that leads into the city as we built out the downtown core. And so the downtown core really kind of started forming as we went. We built a beautiful tram station that creates some loops here that you can see. This tram runs and actually elevates. You can see the elevated tram that runs through the town there. Actually, an elevated tram station on one side as well that you can use. There's a byway called the Chingo Byway, runs straight through the heart of everything, and then actually ended up coming over with one of the bridges from the Bridges and Ports DLC into a little museum and garden area across the river. I'm going to cross over here, just some entertainment across the way. You get a good look at kind of the waterfront area with the quay running around. It features this old hotel right on the edge of the water. Late in the build, we added onto this little island shaped like Africa. We called it Toto Island. We added a little kind of park. There's pathways that run all through it, and we have the Ferris wheel with the observation decks to observe kind of the city skyline. Really cool, all pedestrian roads on that side of things. A couple shops up there as well, an old building. And we kind of cut through over here. See how some of those intersections work and some of the shops and buildings that kind of line downtown streets. We have several bridges that cross over, including some pedestrian bridges and other pieces of the puzzle to get people to and fro one half of the city to the other. And you'll notice in the distance now some of the larger buildings popping up. That is our hospital and our university campus over on the other side there. If we follow our tram line, you'll notice this is where it goes into the elevated portion of the tram line. We've got another university college building there as we go in, or that actually might be a high school, I can't remember. And this is our elevated station right here. You can fully functioning, you get on and off your tram lines here, drop down into the park or into the school buildings that are just behind that. Get our main police station also sits across from that. Look through that area of town. As we expanded, of course, the need for additional housing came into play, but more from the single family perspective. And so we started heading up the hill and we get into our major suburban expansions across the river. We have a large kind of apartment complex that popped up right alongside kind of our large Strode. This Strode on the backside near the rail houses most of our offices and most of our commercial back here for this section of town. See highlighted by a school and some nice classically designed suburban homes into a high school. And then we've got another section of suburban housing and into kind of a final section, kind of trying to vary the design of each of our suburban areas. That kind of took us down to the edge of our map as we spin around and take a look at the whole city. A couple other major kind of expansions and builds that ended up happening from there. We have a second industrial center that you see all the far back here where we got more rail coming in and more industry and a lot more of our utilities and things. Our prison, power, garbage, recycling, a couple of things came in to this section over here. And as you kind of go down the highway, we've got different pieces coming through on this side, including into our stadium district that we had visited just briefly. Stadium district has a lot of our different sports complexes, large parking facilities, different sports-oriented things. We've got parking and then our large arena that kind of caps off the area. There's also a brewery and a beautiful park that we designed. This is a purely vanilla park that we designed, 617 Park, in honor of one of our community members. This park, again, fully vanilla, crosses over from the stadium district. You can get into it. We've got, I called this ultimate frisbee fields. We got ultimate frisbee. We've got some sand volleyball going on. We've got a little concessions area. Grab food, maybe a beer garden of sorts. And from our little boardwalks, you get some beautiful views of the water, of the city. You could take a walk down park area, some beaches, rocks, places to sit, enjoy the view. You'll see a separate tram line that runs right alongside this park as well. And a pedestrian bridge leading into another area of residential for the city. This tram line also is the tram line that leads out to the airport. That takes us into another residential area. We kind of close out the park here. Beautiful little area. Walk right under the freeway system. Jump on the trams. That connects into the downtown kind of tram line as well. As we spin around, see the planes landing in this other large kind of residential area that we added to this segment of the city. Tram line will take you there as well. And that leads you into our airport. Again, you could take the tram all the way from downtown or even from the university area into this particular part of the city. Get on the airport, get on an airplane and transit out if you need to. Beautiful views from this region. We recognize the need for some fancier housing, some more elevated housing in our city at one point, and so we came up into the foothills here and created some gated communities in this region. You'll see some really beautiful areas. Schools kind of highlight each of the sections. We come up into the foothills. Some larger yards, higher elevation homes, a park. Our final little elevated foothill, beautiful views from the foothills here. Into a fun little build we did. This is Moose Mountain Preparatory High School. If you've got money, come to this high school. Up in the foothills. Overlooks the entirety of the city. Built in a couple other sections as we kind of noticed the Midtown kind of dissipating away. Midtown kind of ends where the larger buildings end, and we went into kind of some additional suburbs across the way here, up into the hill. You'll notice again, it's kind of a terraced effect that goes on up to this hill into kind of our final interchange up here on this side of the river. Probably last part that we haven't explored thoroughly is the Midtown area and our university sections. So we've got our major thoroughfare here, the byway that runs all the way through. There's very few intersections on this byway, so if you want to get from one side of the city to the other, you can jump on this and get rolling pretty quickly. You come down here, we've got our university campus that sits down right in the river valley. This particular amphitheater and path is actually a homage to our old freeway system. We actually had to move the entire freeway at one point, but we didn't want to just move the freeway willy-nilly. We wanted to give there some historical recognition to the fact that the freeway used to run through here. So we left at least a small chunk of it open, and then repurposed the area for kind of pathing and for this little custom amphitheater where you could do concerts here right next to the university campus. Again, the trams kind of run right alongside here. You could pick up those trams and run to the city center or go to the university as well. And as we come through the Midtown area, you'll notice a lot of row homes and kind of smaller terraced buildings here. And we accomplished this because we did want to have at least one hill that we built on. And so as you'll notice when we spin around, this is all built on a hill, whereas we kind of terraced out the hills and just didn't build on them in the rest of the city. The row homes actually do look really good on hills. So you can see the elevation change from start to finish as we jump into kind of this segment, but it's got mostly row homes and then just smaller office buildings and commercial buildings. And if you do it that way, it actually kind of can pull off building on the hills quite a bit. It has kind of a nice look and feel to it as we come through that portion of the city. We're also right above an elevated freeway, so we've got a little bit of everything going on. This one's elevated rather than sunken. Comes off and again see a lot of parking and things going on underneath that. And it actually runs right into a really cool segment here where we put in a large kind of pedestrian outdoor shopping mall with nighttime activities, nightclubs and bars and different things, but also has a theater and other things here, a lot of restaurants, large kind of parking areas, all accessible via pedestrian roads as well. There's our cinema, our restaurants, culminating in kind of the really neat asset, uses a terminal kind of look, but you've got a central kind of restaurant here and then into kind of some terminal shopping over here in this shopping center. That's all again kind of more pedestrian accessed. shopping plaza. This is kind of the newer area of Midtown. We kind of used some more of the modern type looking buildings on this side of things. Really jumping into trying to make the city look a little bit more modern feeling as we got into this kind of newer build area towards the back of everything. So all of that exists there. Where there's a couple kind of fun monuments throughout. This tree was dubbed the maple tree that never existed, since there were no maple trees in vanilla. I don't think there still are maple trees in vanilla. We built a little homage to that. The street names and everything are based on different things that were redeemed by the community during the Twitch streams. We built this all live. All of this was built on Twitch. If you want to jump in and do any of that with us, we're still playing City Skylines 2 on Wednesday nights at twitch.tv/MadishMoose. You want to join us for any of that? Last little bit here, I'd like to take a walk down our river walk. We've got kind of a boardwalk, not a boardwalk, but we have a river pathway system, green belt, if you will, that starts way back here. You can see the beginning of it right here, and we'll just take a jaunt down our green belt, observe the things that we can see from the green belt. Some of the best views of the city actually come in from our green belt here. So we start off obviously in the suburban areas. There's also a little park that we built up here. Kick off everything on the far end of our green belt. Benches, trash cans every once in a while. We have some outhouses or some bathroom buildings, facilities. It's often very cold on this map, so we also have placed heaters kind of around on the path. Pagodas and different things that you can relax in as you take in the views. You can see the different paths that kind of shoot off into the main area there, and you'll start to see as we get further in, people actually use our walkway pretty heavily as we kind of get into the or towards core downtown. You'll start to see more people walking their dogs and just using it for pedestrian transportation. Start to catch glimpses of the city. Come into our first connection point here with our roads. We didn't want to have pedestrians, of course, crossing them, so we built an elevated pedestrian bridgeway over here. Gives you a look into suburbs. Across to downtown and then into the suburbs across the way. Beautiful look into the old town area and that initial college and the fountain that we put in over there. Cross into downtown as we get into the main area here. Our teaching hospital is connected to our university. We continue on our Greenbelt tour. We approach our bridge system and some of the most beautiful views of the city that come from over this direction. Downtown, peeking through the trees. There's the college. Here you do have to cross our lovely bridge, and over to our incredibly busy pedestrian crossing. People just flocking to this pedestrian crossing to get across the river. I love that it gets used so heavily, and then additionally that they also spread out and actually will take the path. They'll take the greenbelt path. And we approach the end of our greenbelt tour. Some of the more stunning views of the bridges and the skyline. Mountains in the background. Here our greenbelt goes underneath of the freeway system. Another pedestrian bridge into the downtown core. What a beautiful spring day, Moose River. All the way to the end. Do a kind of campground right at the water's edge. See the Ferris wheel off in the distance on the island. I'll let the sun set on Moose River so we can get a nighttime shot. You can see the shadows have gotten longer. The golden hour approaches. Reflections off the water. Snowy mountains in the background. And the idyllic Moose River. As the sun sets, we'll swing over the city once more. Capture some of the evening vibes into the night of Moose River. Lights start to turn on across the city. The gorgeous nighttime skyline of Moose River. And with that, we will bid adieu. The city of Moose River. Really enjoyed all of our work on this. Hope you enjoyed the tour.